Hello, everyone. Welcome to Live in the Moment Live, the podcast. I'm here with my brothers Michael and Steven, and today we're coming at you with some content. We're going to be recapping a little bit of 420, and then we're just going to kind of transition into living in the moment. So let's get this started. Today is actually 422, so 420 was 2 days ago.
It was. It's nice to suddenly learn the topic of our podcast.
Well, see,
it's a few seconds in.
We have to live in the moment. We're really forcing you to live in the moment. Here's your topic, and you're live, and you're recording, and you're going.
We are practicing what we preach.
Yes.
Right
Yes, we are.
Live.
Absolutely. But the first topic of discussion I'd like to bring up anyhow is High Times magazine holds a cannabis cup multiple times a year. And they had a cannabis cup scheduled for 420 in San Bernardino, California. But with the new recreational laws that were passed in California, you have to have a permit issued to be able to legally sell cannabis. And at the cannabis cups, there's usually a lot of cannabis vendors there. That's really the whole point of it.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
The law requires 60 days of a wait period before the permit can be issued. But the city of San Bernardino wasn't able to start issuing permits until early April, so they didn't have enough time for the 60-day wait period. So about a week before the actual event was supposed to take place, the city finally came down and said, no, we cannot issue you a permit, so High Times had to make it a bring-your-own-bud event. Which is like, that's insane to me.
Because there's a lot of people there, and it's like, those kind of events, they're selling a lot, but then, because everyone has such an overabundance, everyone's really generous. People are sharing with each other a lot, and I imagine that stifled that quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
People have to dig into their personal stash from home, but it's a little different there in California with access overall, but still, people were probably clasping a little tighter.
Well, they said that apparently the debate was rather contentious because because the High Times has held cannabis cups in San Bernardino for a while now. But apparently with these previous ones, the city council was never brought into the decision of how to handle it because the laws were different when it was just medical. They could do it the way they were doing it before. And now that the city is finally being forced to be involved, they felt slighted with all the previous ones, and some of those emotions kind of came up in the actual city council meeting with the High Times staff. And it's a shame that politics does that, but it turns out maybe the legalization might not be too fantastic with the way we're implementing it. It's
always got to look at the implementation. Like here in Florida, they don't have it. Mm-mm. It's not really real. I mean,
they have medical, but there's very limited
access.
I don't think.
You
can't actually buy
actual flower
bud.
cannabis. It has to be
edibles
processed products.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is really limits the access.
I really can't participate much in this discussion because I know nothing about marijuana or cannabis.
Well,
because cannabis is the technical English name, right? It's
and that's really what is being pushed as the main name now because marijuana was used to be associated with Mexicans during to help make people not like it. Yeah, but cannabis, it was always known as cannabis. People didn't actually realize that's what was being made illegal because of the name change. Like it was like that kind of
really.
So cannabis is just the official term, and it has been because it's cannabis sativa is the official name of the plant.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's the genus then.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
Yeah.
All you smart people know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Some of you dumb people might know it too. Just because you know what a genus is doesn't mean you're smart.
Yeah.
Or if you don't, doesn't mean you're stupid.
Right.
One of the things that you might be able to participate in this portion of the conversation, but I was also looking up some information on some pot stocks because being around 420, I expected there to be a nice little boost, and there was a considerable boost for most pot stocks. But
in anticipation of 420, because
that
doesn't seem like a smart day to be like, yeah, we're all high, let's invest in marijuana stuff.
Well, no, what it is the retail sales of the marijuana companies go up considerably in that week of 420.
Right. That's why I say in anticipation.
Yeah.
It's like you don't
buy
buy stock.
You want to be selling in the afternoon of 420.
Yeah, you don't buy retail stock on Christmas Day. That's just stupid.
Yeah. It's but some of the shows that have been covering it because 420 it's now an unofficial holiday. Some of the stock shows actually covered pot stocks on 420. And apparently the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced a plan to decriminalize marijuana on the federal level. So the federal government is now
nice
taking
that he waited
steps
until
to,
the Republicans had control.
Right? Yeah. So it's going to be It's gonna be cool. I'm excited for the future of the cannabis industry. Right now, if you're looking to invest in the cannabis industry, you want to look at the Canada markets. Those are a lot hotter with the actual recreational laws at the federal level for them. Yeah, so they actually can. Our stocks are a little shaky on the legality sometimes when it comes to the pot companies. So you get there are some legitimate things like GW Pharmaceuticals, which is a European-based pharmaceutical company that makes most of their pharmaceuticals from extractions of the cannabis plant. So it's there are some more legitimate stocks. But
I actually also had an eventful 420.
Oh, yeah.
But obviously, as I have already stated,
you're not.
It had nothing to do with cannabis. But it was the opening night for my play. The play I'm in. I'm in a play called Completely Hollywood Abridged in a local community theater, which means I'm not getting paid, unfortunately. But
no, it was still good though. It's still really.
Yeah.
Oh, you enjoyed it?
Oh, I did. Yeah. No, definitely.
I'm excited. I'm gonna have to see it.
Yeah, it's done by a company called the Reduced Shakespeare Company. They're well known for doing the complete works of Shakespeare abridged. I've not seen that myself, but it's one that they're well known for.
Nice.
So
nice.
Figure I'll give them a little bit of a plug since they're the show. It really is. It's great because it's written as three guys who wrote a play.
Nice.
About movies. So the roles are the names of the guys who actually wrote and performed this play.
Nice.
So you take on the role of one of them, and then you go by your name, is more or less how this flows. And the whole idea is that you break down the rules of Hollywood movies. There are 12 of them that we cover, and it's all satirical, and we have a lot of fun through the whole thing. We give examples, little moments that are sometimes a little ridiculous, but it's stupid, but it's fun. Sometimes some things are just stupid, and some things are fun without being stupid. But this is both, and it really, I don't think it ever crosses that line into just being stupid.
No, yeah.
Which is
There's
good.
Like enough of a point in everything that it wasn't just some.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't just stupid.
Right. Yeah, and
then, but it was very playful though. Yeah, it's very silly.
It doesn't take itself seriously, and that's one of the things that is kind of hard if as an actor, if you come from even farces and things, plays that are meant to be funny, you usually have to take the play seriously.
Yeah.
A farce especially, because the way farces work is that the characters are serious and the situations are ridiculous. The situations are the funny things. The moments that happen as a result of these situations are what is funny, not the delivery of the actors. The actors need to play it like they are actual people experiencing these things, and it's hilarious. If they try to play it up and make it funny, it just ruins it. Mm-hmm. Whereas this is not so much like that. This is it is just one long string of jokes.
So there are moments then where it's actually appropriate for the actor to look out at the audience. One of those.
We come out and address the audience right away.
Okay.
It's really the only times when we're not specifically even talking. Well, and we'll stand there and talk to each other, and the audience is a participant in this conversation. They're not voyeurs, they're not just onlookers out there in the dark. They're a part of the conversation. It's more like a lecture, even, that we're giving them a lecture on.
Yeah, you feel like you learned something.
Yeah,
yeah.
And then we cover these rules, and we have little examples here and there. But by the end of it, we decide to make our own movie. The end of the first act, we decide to make our own movie, and then the second act is the movie that we're making as a result of that. And there's some audience participation. We bring a few people up on stage. And it's a good time, but it's extremely physically demanding. Because there's only three of us.
A lot of running around, a lot of quick changes, all kinds of fun stuff. Yeah, just the three guys putting it all together. They just to assume all the different roles and to make fun of all the different parts of Hollywood. Like you guys have to change a lot of costumes. I'm sure it's got to be very taxing to run behind things and quickly change.
Yeah. I mean, and even at some point, there's a bit where I exit after a scene, and then one of the guys comes out to kind of cover a transition. You know, it's like it's supposed to be this part that gives me the opportunity to change so I can come back on. And he's, you know, he says his bit and he stands there and is like, okay, where is he? Why hasn't he come back on? So then he vamps a little bit, adds a little bit more, and then the other guy comes out and they're both looking at each other like, where is he? And it's at one point in that I'm supposed to run backstage and make noise so that the audience hears me back there.
Yeah, it's like you're running to make your entrance.
Right. And
I've had legitimate moments where I'm listening to people running backstage to make their entrance while I'm on stage. It's awkward.
Well, and it actually is kind of called for in the moment too. I'm pretty sure they wrote that because that moment probably kept getting whiffed in rehearsal.
Yeah.
Like he's taking forever.
Like, you know what?
Right.
You're just changing it.
Yeah. Just make that moment the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've had a lot of fun with it. I got 2 more weekends to go. And it actually, our parents went and saw it the day after you saw it, and then they came and saw it today with our grandmother, and they said that we improved a lot since Thursday.
Good. Oh, yeah, that's
so.
Yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, because it's one of those things.
Well, I mean, especially like the night I went was friends and family, and it's like a much smaller crowd, so I'm sure it was a lot more. You know, it's not nearly as engaging as I'm sure the last bunch of shows have been. It's just been a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, no offense to the audience, like people loved it and they were great, but there's just less bodies. It's just not as impactful.
Yeah, we've had disappointingly low attendance.
Oh, have you?
But everyone that sees it loves it.
Oh, that's good.
We haven't had anyone like storming out in anger. Like, oh, this show is terrible. I hate it. And almost everyone comes out of it and is like, oh, it was so fun. You know, I've been in shows before where it's funny, and there are people that come up and say, oh, it was great, I loved it. And then there's a bunch of people just kind of walking out sort of like, well, it was 2 hours of just something to do.
One of my favorite things is like in that line after the show, and you get those old people coming through, and they feel like they have to say something. And if they didn't enjoy the show, they always go with, you look like you had fun up there. And I'm like, I love when I hear that. Because it just means they did not enjoy the show, but they're trying to be nice.
I actually had a weird moment
That's nice
today.
that they're trying to be nice.
It is, you know.
Rather a strange moment in the line. I mean, it didn't stand out that, you know, if you were there, you wouldn't have noticed. Mm-hmm. But as I mentioned, we have an audience participation bit, and we bring up, it's supposed to be like 6 to 8 people onto the stage. And one of the people we brought onto the stage was a relatively attractive older gal, as in like 60s.
Okay.
You know, not an old lady, but not a young woman. And there was a moment on the stage when she was one of the 6 that came up, where she like looked at me and made eye contact, and it was like I didn't let it make me feel weird because it could have ruined, you know, the moment on stage. I didn't want it to disrupt anything, but I definitely noticed it and was thinking, that's a little odd. I'm half her age, at least.
Some women like that, man.
Well, because then in the line after the show where we were greeting as they exited, she walks like straight to me and is like, oh, I loved it. You were wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thought it could be a service.
Yeah.
How about a night performance?
No, I wasn't going there.
You know, it's not everybody's thing, I guess.
You know, I thought based on context, it made sense that he was not digging it.
Well, you know, I don't know. You don't have to like him to, you know.
Well, at least we know where you stand on this.
Yeah, you know. I'm a terrible person, so that's just how that goes.
You know, I did learn that when someone says, you know, I'm a terrible person, trust them.
Oh, yeah, no. They usually know that they're a shitty person.
Yeah,
and they're being honest.
Trust them. Anyway.
Anyhow.
To completely derail what we're talking about.
Please.
No, I'm
I was
moving on
watching...
anyway.
No. You can't fire me. I quit.
So I was watching the Joe Rogan podcast, and the guy that he was talking to was just bouncing off the walls. Like he must have been like on Adderall or something. Which, you know, he just something to focus more. but it just, to me, like, his skin was, like, vibrating. And then it was hilarious that, like, the contrast that I saw with Joe, like, just looking stoned. It just, I thought it was hilarious. So let me show you guys that clip. It just tickled me, so. Hold up. Let me change the output so it's playing through properly.
Just a second, folks. Audio is always the hardest part. I was assisting with a 24-hour live stream the other day.
Audio's...
And I was just, like 2 or 3 of us were dedicated just to audio. You got like 6 or 7 mics running around, people not coming back to the audio board properly. And
oh, yeah.
It's
like a work, it's like always like a work of magic.
Yeah. If you're working with computers, you pretty much just have to like hold the computer's configuration in place, because the slightest thing it'll suddenly change all of its input and output devices.
Okay.
And then you're just, all right.
So this guy, so he's animated talking about, so you don't have to worry about the words because I cut him off and it doesn't make any sense.
Or bumbling morons. But they're the same people. They're government workers. Because he just wants Barry delivering the guns, and then after a while, like...
I covered it, but it's because I don't have it up correctly. Let's make sure the viewers at home can enjoy that. And you guys can enjoy.
Or bumbling morons. But they're the same people. They're government workers.
Okay, so this guy's
because he just wants Barry delivering the guns, and then after a while, like...
Is that exact?
And then he just wants Barry delivering the guns, and then after a while, like, or bumbling morons.
When I hear that kind of a whoa, because it's an archetypal whoa. When I hear that kind of a whoa, I'm figuring he's not actually listening at all. He just had some sort of connection, like he was like looking at the guy's teeth or something. It was just like, oh, dude, like bacteria and shit. It's like, whoa.
It's like, whoa, this dude's on so much Eddie.
Bring the guns,
like, whoa,
and then
still talking.
Because that whoa is just there shouldn't have been some sort of revelatory connection made in that particular moment.
Like the guy, listen to the words, I guess.
He just wants Barry delivering the guns, and then after a while...
So it's like, yeah.
That's great.
Right, but it's like, I mean, I just imagine him seeing some sort of pattern on the wall and being like, oh, that kind of looks like a lizard. Whoa.
Yeah, maybe that guy's a lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So because 420 just happened, I got some fail clips of some stoners, and like this one guy gets caught by his mom.
Doing what?
And the output is all good on the other thing?
It should be coming out. This is the same.
Oh, okay.
Works the same as the last clip.
I gotcha.
So this guy's doing a dab. I don't know why he's recording himself.
I'm about to go to bed.
He's trying to cough his brains out because he just took a fat dab and his mom walks in. What are you doing?
Enough with the drugs.
Son, what are you doing? Enough with this drugs. Let's get to the rocket. What are you doing?
I'm about to go to bed.
That's what she gets for naming him Chad.
Exactly what she gets for naming him.
That's the real issue here.
Don't name your kids Chad.
I think people know that by now.
Yeah, at this point, everyone's
20-some
discovered
years
that
ago.
Chads are douches.
They're just like,
So this guy might as well be named Chad because he's probably one of the biggest douches in the world. Like what he does, I hope he gets his ass beat, but he's looking at some bud that he convinced some guy to come over and like try to sell him. He's like, oh, this is interesting. Look at this fucker. But he's not getting anywhere. At least one guy does. They might have caught the other guy. I don't know.
what the?
So they tried to just drive away with the shit.
tried to steal from the dealer. It was a terrible idea.
Yeah, and filmed it because I guess he thought it would make good content. Fucking moron.
Good content for the court case.
So Chad here just fucking tries to bail.
That's
fucked up.
That's beyond Chad.
Yeah.
Chad's
That's
an idiot, but this guy's a criminal.
I don't know. It's like the first name that comes to mind when I see something like that is Leo.
You see that shit, and you're like, technically,
no.
Leo's not really a drug user.
But this guy, selling, is technically breaking the law. But you can't watch this clip and go, that other fucker needs to be in jail. That is an issue.
Right. I mean, if anything, it would just be used in both of their trials. Yeah. Because people are charged independently. It doesn't matter. The other guy was breaking the law. You were breaking the law. You just both go to jail.
That's idiot. Why would you?
Why filming that is really the thing that kills me. It's like
filming it and then letting it get on the internet.
So that's a very frustrating thing to watch. This is hilarious because this guy, it's his first time smoking, and he's excited and he's gonna go for it. So let's just take a look.
I'm glad I'm doing this right now.
There you go, bud. It's not crack, bud.
He's sitting at the bottom. It goes to the top. Then he figures it out. He gets it.
I was kind of
wondering. Look how black the bottom is. So it's just so good.
It's not crack, bud. Or crystal meth, or
it
any of the things that you would do that with.
It would have to be literally inside the glass tube for that heat to make any sense. At any rate, but.
It's like, why didn't it do anything?
Burnt my thumb.
I like that music cue.
They killed it on that. I think I saw Discovery did it. That's a class. Like, it's been memed out, and so there's people putting all kinds of music and stuff. Yeah, after watching that other guy. Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
He's looking at more clips.
I got more clips, but if you guys want to talk about something else here first, someone had another topic you want to jump on for a moment.
I mean, I love to talk about a lot of things, but a lot of those things end up getting technical.
Yeah, well, we don't. Yeah,
yeah.
We obviously don't want to.
So I don't want to bore people with too much gory detail, but I think I'm reasonably good at staying out of the weeds. Maybe I'll step in every now and then, but anyway.
Like that guy.
That's him prefacing about to go deep into the weeds with this next line. So go ahead.
Well, I'm a drummer, as these guys know.
Yes.
And now you know too. And one of my favorite drummers is Dave Weckl. So if you've not heard of Dave Weckl, I probably won't be able to give you a reference that you would recognize him from. I mean, where he really became Dave Weckl was with the Chick Corea Electric Band, which
household name.
Right, exactly. It's not. It's not a household name.
No.
But basically, virtuoso drummer playing with a virtuoso pianist.
Oh.
And
yummy.
I love a nice virtuous pianist.
Yes. Anyway.
Right. So,
anyway,
Dave Weckl recently released an online drum school. It's through a platform called Teachable. And I've been going through his content on there and I've been working on stuff. And what's really interesting about his drumming, as opposed to a lot of other well-known drummers, you do have to qualify it with drummers because they're well-known amongst drummers, but a lot of well-known drummers are extremely technical in their playing. They have fast hands. They can play notes really fast and they can do this or that really complicated pattern. But what separates Dave Weckl from those guys is that he's a very musical drum player. Mm-hmm. He has chops. His chops probably aren't as good as some of the other well-known drummers that are considered legends. He's considered a legend. But the main reason for that is he's dedicated more of his time to making smart musical choices in the moment. And I've really been trying to develop that in my own playing, but it's remarkably difficult because you have to have the chops. First of all, if you don't have the chops, it doesn't matter. You know, you could decide to play something, but then you can't play it because you don't have the chops. But if you have the chops and then you end up just playing exercises through a bunch of songs.
Oh yeah, you're just going to piss off every
Right.
other musician.
Right. You know, other drummers will
zero
watch it and they'll
space.
go, "Oh my God, that was amazing."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All the other
because
musicians are just like, dude,
Yeah.
what was
yeah,
that?
the musicians you're trying to play
the other
with
ones are just
enjoy
pissed
it.
off that you're trying to steal all the glory too, because then
Right.
it's like, yeah, everyone comes up to that. Oh, isn't he such a great drummer? It's like, no, he's stepping on my playing.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Good drummers know how to play in the pocket when they need to.
Yeah. And probably the biggest takeaway I've gotten from watching his school and watching his playing across all of the many solo albums he's released is the importance of keeping time as a drummer. You know, every instrument kind of plays a role in the band context. And it's well known that drummers are supposed to keep time. It's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
But what I realized recently is that they're not keeping time for the other band members. They're keeping time for the audience, for the listeners.
Yeah.
Because, you know, especially if you're in a band full of virtuoso musicians, everyone knows where the time is.
Mm-hmm.
They should be good enough to know it on their own. They shouldn't need the drummer to tell them where the time is. If they're relying on the drummer for the time, they're crappy at what they're doing. But the audience are not necessarily trained musicians, so they need a little bit more help to understand the time and how everything fits in with the time. So that becomes priority number one, because I think back to this contest I played in back in 2011 at Sam Ash, at our local Sam Ash store. It was there was this progressive rock tune that they gave you a drumless track for, and I composed and wrote out this part for it, and I practiced the hell out of it, and I executed it perfectly at the contest. And I didn't win. I was destroyed by this. I was just like, I think I stopped drumming for a while after that because I was so disappointed in the outcome, because I felt I did everything as well as I possibly could have. And there was what kind of hurt things as well was that there was a moment that made me think that perhaps the judge was not behaving appropriately, because before the contest began, one of the judges was fraternizing with the contestants, which is just, you should always sequester your judges before anything that's going to be officially judged, that there's like prizes at stake for, you know? Mm-hmm. Not that it's really that important of a thing, but it's still.
It wasn't about the prize, it was about the work you put in and the result.
Right. So because of that judge fraternizing, I felt uncomfortable when I saw this judge. I'm like, that guy's a judge, he shouldn't be fraternizing. And I probably gave him a bad vibe because I felt like he was behaving inappropriately, and I thought it was my duty to avoid him. So for a while, I believed that I lost because of that I lost for that, you know, making him feel like I didn't like him or something.
Yeah, vibes are powerful.
Very powerful.
And it is possible that was a factor, but more than that, what I've only just recently realized, and this was 7 years ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I only just recently realized that the part I wrote for that song did not state the time very well for the listeners. I enjoyed the part, you know. I'm doing my chops and playing stuff that I thought was neat, but it left the listener just kind of like,
what's going on?
Yeah, it didn't feel like a song to the listener, I'm sure.
Yeah.
When I think back to what I was playing.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel like a song.
Yeah, because you went so technical. It's like if you just had pulled it back and maybe even kind of made more of a groove on top of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of what, with plenty of notes and showing off your technical skill, but...
Well, and that's
true.
That's kind of the way it is for even like a podcast or anything like that. You can't get, like you were saying earlier, you can't get too in the weeds. You can't get too technical. You got to keep it elevated up at that higher level so that everyone feels like they're involved. Because as soon as somebody feels like they're excluded because they don't understand the situation, they just tune it out. They don't want to be in it.
Right. Exactly.
You got to help them live in the moment, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It took me a moment to figure out, but once I understood you, I'm right there with you.
Nice.
Yeah, it really is. It's that connection with the audience. It's the framework that helps them understand everything else. It's the context.
For sure.
And I just totally failed to establish that through giant portions of that song that I had composed.
Well, and it's hard to really get the feel, and it's hard to get the feeling for what the crowd is going to enjoy unless you've played in front of a lot of crowds with your own material. For the most part, when we've played in front of crowds, it's been like church material, something that was essentially handed to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once you get used to playing your own material in front of people, you start to learn how to write your material in order to actually make the audience feel included.
Right.
Yeah.
Because before I understood that was sort of the overriding goal that I should always be striving to achieve when I'm playing the drums. Before that, it was more about just not messing up.
Yeah.
Playing something and not messing up. And I succeeded at that. But that was not enough. Because
you gotta have that soul, that human spirit in there.
Because my role model for a long time on the drums was Neil Peart of the band Rush. And he's always been a very compositional drummer. He's always been the kind of drummer that he really writes a part, and then that's what he plays every time. And he might change it. He has changed some of the parts over time. But it's a calculated change, and it's consistent. It's not an improvisation, in other words. Whereas Dave Weckl is totally the opposite. He establishes a groove. He's not just playing willy-nilly. There's the groove, and he's got to state that, but he leaves himself tremendous freedom to improvise around that groove and to add licks here and little fills there and whatever else. But he never, I guess, I won't say never because he's not perfect, and he would be the first to admit when he screws this up. But he always strives to never lose the beat, lose that thing that helps the audience connect with the song. And I've just really grown to appreciate that a lot. And I think what helped me figure this out, because he doesn't actually directly teach this, and a lot of drum teachers will say that, you're supposed to keep the time as a drummer. But there's that difference between knowing and knowing.
Yeah.
That I kind of picked up on, okay, this is what they really mean, by watching other drummers cover Dave Weckl tunes. Because I think he might have been the first to release a -1 drum track, something to play along with that doesn't include drums already. And he's very permissive when it comes to letting people record along to his tracks. And most of his stuff, at least after a certain year, there's a play-along track you can get. So there are a ton of people that have tried to cover these songs, and I listened to as many of them as I could because there's one particular song I've been working on. And there's different levels of skill, it's hard to I don't like to criticize, but there were definitely some that were kind of crappy. But they were trying. They recorded themselves and put themselves on the internet. That's
they took the effort.
Yeah, and
they made that step.
Exposing themselves that much takes a tremendous amount of courage. So I applaud them for that, even if I didn't like their drumming, especially.
Yeah.
But there were also some that were good, that didn't mess up. It was very tight and they had good chops and all of that. But I still didn't like them quite as much as Dave's playing. And I was trying to figure out what that is. What was that difference? And of course, I'm always trying to keep an eye towards my own bias. Is it because I like Dave Weckl as a player, so I'm automatically giving him bonus points? So I did try to account for that. There's only so much you can do to control for that as a person, because I can't be outside my brain. But I think it came down to the musical choices and that he never left the groove. Because some of those drummers that were technically competent and played everything, with good timing and excellent chops and everything, sometimes they weren't leaving enough space, which is a musical thing. You got to let the music breathe. You can play fast stuff and you can play lots of fills, but you do still have to let it breathe sometime. It can't just be
just go
playing notes through the whole thing. And I know there was at least one guy who was doing that. Like, the guy's endurance is incredible, and he had excellent chops. Yeah. But it's like, it worked in some of the songs, but then other songs it was like, oh no, this sounds like he's overplaying. Because that's one thing, Dave Weckl never sounds like he's overplaying.
Yeah.
Even though he kind of is.
Well, and it's a weird thing to liken it to, but like with acting. Sometimes when you're acting in comedies and you're looking at, especially with stage acting, you're looking at how people are gesturing and this and that. You're like, that seems over the top.
Right.
But when they blend it all together correctly, it's not over the top. It doesn't seem like they're over gesturing. It seems like they are the moment, and they are just pushing that moment to the audience, and the audience has the chance to just live in it.
Oh,
it's weird. I'm starting to make
they
connections.
They get to live in that moment.
Yeah, well, I'm starting to make connections with like all of entertainment when it comes to music or podcasts or if you're writing poetry or anything like that. You have to build that connection with the audience, and sometimes that takes putting aside your technical skills and just from right here something comfortable, something that really connects.
I don't know that it ever requires putting aside your technical skills as much as
it's not about showcasing them.
Yes, it's not about showcasing them. That's a good way to put it.
Because it's like a good example
without the technical
would be Chad Smith.
Yeah.
When he plays with Red Hot Chili Peppers, he's very in the pocket. It's very comfortable. It engages the audience.
And a lot more when they're live, though. He just makes it a lot
when
more.
you hear some of his solos and some of these other things, you're like, oh, this guy's a great drummer. He's got the chops. He knows what he's doing. He's very comfortable with this kit. He knows what the sounds he wants to create, how to create them, and when to create them. And it still doesn't feel like he's overplaying. But when there are other instruments, he just pops right back in the pocket. And it's a beautiful thing. Because it really allows everyone to enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, it didn't take me until I had discovered this phenomenon to develop an appreciation for him. But Roger Taylor of Queen, I think, deserves a little more respect than he gets. Not that he's disrespected as a drummer.
But
he's just not necessarily regarded
he's not usually
as a legend.
listed as one of the greats,
He's in a great band.
Yeah.
And people like him for that. Yeah. But really, Queen's music is so strange.
It is.
That I think he deserves more respect just for not screwing that up. Because he doesn't lose the listener as a drummer.
No, yeah. Even in the weirdest compositions they put together, because, oh man.
There's some
weird ones.
Because they talk about using the studio as like practically a separate instrument with some of their recordings, and it's like you can tell with how
which is cool. Why not do that? Especially like in this day and age where, I mean, there's a lot of money to be made by touring and everything, but a lot more of the distribution, everything has become online. So it's like just putting that extra effort into a recorded thing is totally worth it, because that's
absolutely it's your
That's
presence.
the main way people, especially with all the auto tune and things most pop musicians use. Like they need to be able to do that. Yeah, no, I love it. Putting like headphones and trash cans and all kinds of like innovative, like it's
cool stuff.
Yeah, it is its own instrument. That's cool.
You gotta wonder though, like when you hear the effect, you're like, oh, that's cool. What made them think to try that? What made them think to go for that sound in the first place?
Like
once you hear it, then you're like, oh, I got to remember that for next time.
Yeah.
But the first people to do that, it's like, why were they? What?
Was somebody's producer on acid or something, just like playing some weird things and like messing. I mean, it's possible.
I mean, I guess it's not that strange because the whole effect that it accomplished was the sort of that old timey radio, kind of a feel. And maybe they were like, how can we do this? Oh, let's put headphones in a trash can with a microphone.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So I saw you had some more clips lined up.
I did. You guys want to see some more clips?
I'm interested. You came at it so hard with that Joe Rogan Stoned one there. I couldn't help it. I'm curious.
Yeah, and I want to see all these clips.
I do. I want to know. I want to know.
All right. So this one, they had this guy. I can't put him on stage because this one guy was so like just fucked up. I mean, just rolling that they couldn't. Like they do this lie detector thing or whatever. Like they couldn't do that on him. They couldn't bring him out on stage. And you'll see him in a set. You'll see that. But I don't fully understand the story of what happened. I'm going to be honest with you. But, like, the one guy was fucked up. There's this gal, this other guy involved. There's a kid. So now it's like there's a new guy that's there with the woman. This guy clearly needs to be away from the kid and anybody. But the new guy, you know, he does drugs. Like, there's just no question. So I just want to show you, it's just like, okay, that guy, yeah.
We'll
so
see.
who really does drugs? Like, they both do, is my thing.
We've made a decision as a show that he's unfit to appear as a guest.
Steve, he came into the polygraph room and I began to interview him. A lot of people come in and they're nervous and they burn off the nervous energy. And he was displaying behavior like he is now. Seemed very agitated, seemed very manic.
That's probably one of the few times we had a guest so high that we couldn't bring them out on stage. You got to be pretty high.
It's his fault for
So did you stop
See
doing
that
drugs?
guy, I see him, I'm like,
Yes.
Thank you for stopping doing drugs.
You're welcome.
Oh, totally does drugs. Camera guy knows it. Camera guy knows it.
no, that was my edit.
That's probably one of the few times we had a guest.
Yeah, but I love
so
it.
high
It's just
that we
like
couldn't bring them out
it
on
says a lot
stage.
about what
You gotta be
what
pretty
show
high.
they're doing. It's like, you gotta be pretty fucked up. I love the way like
So
person
did
looks
you
at
stop
it
doing
He knew
drugs
a month in
before we
advance.
told you to?
Yes.
because they just did it to clear the drug test.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Nah. He quit for like a day and a half. Okay. Yeah. What other clip did I have?
I want to know. That was good.
Okay.
Do you know much about like the licensing and the legal ramifications of using stuff from YouTube for a live stream?
No, I've seen people do it. Yeah.
So as
If
far
I
as
take
you
us
know,
down,
nothing.
take it down. I'm pretty sure we're good because
Well,
we're adding content.
well,
Like,
I
it's-
mean, here's
if
the-
it's the
It's the
one, we're not selling a product.
Okay, that's
Two,
true.
yeah, we're not. If you want to subscribe or pay us, like, well, we accept it, but you can just enjoy it. But yeah, we're adding enough extra content, like our commentary,
Yeah, it's
everything
not,
else
it's
on
not
top.
like we're just playing.
We're
their
not just
content.
playing their content, so I think it's within. And plus, actually, I did a lot of editing.
Well,
on a
and the
good
one
chunk
thing
of these
is
clips, so like they're not even.
Facebook cares the most when it comes to, because Facebook
And
will take a
YouTube's
live
pretty
stream
bad,
down if you're
too.
playing
Most
music
pretty
that
bad.
you don't have the rights to.
Yeah, Twitch is
But
really
Twitch is-
really open. Even I think a lot of music
Twitch
is even
and
allowed. that you
YouTube
can have in
is
the
pretty
background.
open compared to Facebook, because it's
Compared
like
to Facebook, yeah.
will shut you down for cannabis
Yeah.
content too, or on your
Oh.
Instagram.
420 news.
Yes.
Before I show you that, let's go
I
full
thought we
screen.
moved beyond that segment.
Well,
No, actually, we're about to have a clip that's related.
Yeah,
It's
we are.
JB.
I saw that.
Yeah, Jack Black.
On
A
the
couple
Getting
clips
Doug,
from
that's
him being
good.
on Getting Doug. Him just kind of we're freaking out a little bit.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
But,
Good episode.
YouTube, Pot, Jolioli for Custom Grow 420.
Yes.
His channel's down. Like they took
What?
it down as of right now. Yeah,
No.
they could restore it, but yeah, it's completely
Holy
gone as of like
crap.
2 days ago. Like this is recent.
What?
I just found out today before the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
Because I went to try to
But
find
he
some
was
clip.
such a-
I wanted to get at least one thing of him doing like a fat dab or something.
Yeah.
For the 420
Oh,
thing.
man.
Because like he'll just take
He was
huge
so
hits
great.
and just cough like it's ridiculous channel. But he's a nice dude. I don't know why
Yeah,
they
no,
would take
that's-
it.
that's
It's-
terrible.
Yeah, it's crazy. They just
Terrible.
YouTube's been cracking down on everybody because they've had a bunch of
Well,
crap
and,
being
you
thrown
know,
their way.
being-
They're trying to
being,
watch
you
their
know,
ass.
Your own way. Google has the whole thing where if you're when you're trying to do SEO for a cannabis company, something I have some experience with, you can't mention cannabis or any marijuana related terms or cannabis related terms on your website at all. So because if the Google crawler finds it, they're just going to flag you and not list you. So there's some tricky double layering. You need a website that has all your cannabis verbiage and all of that you don't have the SEO on, and then you need a site that doesn't have cannabis verbiage that has all your SEO that redirects traffic over to your actual cannabis. Yeah, so I
Whole
guess
thing.
maybe they're really starting to take their Google enforcement and put it into the YouTube media.
Oh yeah,
side.
no, that's really what it is. Yeah, just the corporate
unfortunate.
side of it really cracking down because they're getting a bunch of crap because of people just putting God knows what up on violating different copyrights and all these different things. So YouTube's had a lot of issues over the years and continue to step in shit as I see it. I mean, just screwing over all these people that have been providing all this content, which has provided all this ad revenue for Google and YouTube. It's like there's other platforms, guys. What are you doing?
Yeah,
we're on Twitch right now.
People will go
like
to
a lot
other
of people are.
Yeah. Twitch is gaining a lot of steam outside of video games
because then we can just take the videos from Twitch and post them up on YouTube, and if they don't fly, whatever, still have them. Still another.
So then a question about Twitch.
Yes.
For a stream.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the stream becomes available when you're done with it, right?
Yeah.
So you can watch it later.
Yeah, you actually have to end up putting up a version of it later for it to stay up.
Okay, but you do get a version immediately.
Yeah, you can download it, like that version, and save it and do stuff with it.
But it'll disappear after some time?
After a certain amount of time, but it gives you warning. They don't just yank it.
And the reason I'm asking is that one of the things that would be working to Twitch's advantage, I think, is because it's a streaming service. You know, these companies that have these copyrights can't just watch everyone's streams all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube is we're putting up pre-canned videos.
Right. And these
can
videos
have a
live.
Well, and YouTube has
and then
YouTube
someone
Live
can flag
though, too.
it,
I mean,
and then
yeah.
you can view the video and see, oh yes, this was a violation. But if it's like a stream that then gets flagged but then disappears.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, Twitch was bought by Amazon, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
So there's the potential impending, concern for the impending regulations from the
Maybe.
Amazon side.
I don't know because of the
If-
difference in
if-
how they do it. Like,
yeah,
'cause
he
it's,
might
it's
just ride the
on
wave of being that.
subscriptions, so people are paying to say, I like this person, I want to give them money to make shows. And there's bits which is saying, I like what's happening in this moment, here's some money. So it's more like tips and giving it that way. So, I mean, Twitch has a different payment model.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the rights issue. Like, that's why they're able to do it, because they're not paying us for the content, but it's like they're paying us as a person.
Yeah.
Almost. I think that's how it counts.
All I know is that the intellectual property laws are just
dumb.
screwy. They're just,
Oh, yeah.
just screwy. I mean,
For sure.
to be clear, I don't have a problem with the idea of people making money with content that they create.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's obviously an issue with people stealing and
Yes.
making money off of their ideas
Right.
and this and that, but
Yeah. but
certain property.
it's just so convoluted and
And a lot of good marketers, though, understand that any exposure is good.
Right.
So,
and that's why I like if I mention anyone or if I think about let's bring up their content. I want to promote that person's content apart from our own because it's not ours.
Yeah.
It would be theirs.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the main reason I asked
Joe Rogan podcast.
Check the
Getting
podcast
Doug.
out. Yeah,
Doug
Getting
with
Doug's
Doug.
a great.
Yeah. We're gonna show that too.
Check those people out
Yeah.
because we used their shit.
Clearly,
and
I mean,
don't think we asked them
hilarious.
first, but I'm sure they would appreciate the plug. You
Yeah,
know?
they've got great content. I mean, they're fun to listen to, fun to
Yeah.
watch.
As like, and for the record, any content that I produce or that I'm a part of course,
Yeah.
I can't speak for everyone.
Use
that's
it,
a
have
part
fun.
of
No,
it.
even me, with music
if it's
and a lot of
actually
this stuff.
entertaining
Use it.
content or something, use it.
Use it, but just give us a
credit.
shout out. Just say, yeah, I love these guys. This is some stuff, and I really liked it, and you should check out more of their stuff. Go to their stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with you using my stuff because even when it comes to music these days, thanks to first file sharing sites like Napster
Yep.
and whatnot, and then iTunes and these services later on that made it just as easy to buy.
Yes.
Because that was the key.
That
It
was
was
the
too
that was the
easy to
hurdle.
get the music, but people were okay paying for it, but they didn't have to, so it was
Yeah.
great. But then
But
all
then-
that stuff started getting shut down and whatnot. But with all those services now, with Spotify especially, and all the competition that's arisen to try to compete with Spotify, artists don't really make that much money on their music, on the royalties from the music.
No, it's really about
that-
the touring.
that's
It's
kinda-
the
that's
merchandise.
really
It's the live-
died.
It's the
I mean,
merchandise
that's-
and the live entertainment
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah.
Just when you put a
Merchandise
couple
and
million
It's
into
it's
a
about the
tour.
universe,
Yeah.
not the. It's just.
Yeah,
Yeah, the only reason you put the music out there so it can be enjoyed and the music can build hype for your tour.
yeah,
Like that's really that's
I want people listening to my tunes. Like, it's just.
yeah.
building hype for that
Yeah,
potential
I
tour.
care
'cause
less
that's where the
about
money is.
making money on it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it's
Seriously, anywhere I can, even when I put the stuff up for like Build a Beat or all that, I try to reduce any prices if it's.
it's like, and you don't
you can
put
just
music.
recommend
You don't make an album
Spotify or
anymore
something.
because you're trying to make money. You make an album because you were inspired to
Because
make
you want
an
to make
album.
an album, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because you
not-
like music and
Yeah.
you like creating.
It's about the love.
And
Yeah.
you wanted enough songs to go on tour with.
Yeah, or you needed songs for sketches or things you were going to make, and you didn't want to deal with royalties or any other thing like that. So you made original tunage, but
Tunage, yeah.
tunage, yeah.
Yeah. We might end up using some Build-A-Beat stuff on here.
Yeah.
Some background music.
Yeah. If we got some good stuff, we get to, You need to get an intro built. It'd be sexy intro.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
The main reason I asked is because for anyone who actually cares to find out who Dave Weckl is, I mean, he's easy enough to find. He's on YouTube.
We can pull up a video here in a minute.
Yeah, I'd like to. Yeah. In particular, there's one.
I still want to show the JB thing first.
For sure.
Yeah, okay, we can do that, and then I'll talk about.
Yeah, perfect. Then we'll just transition right into that. So, let me show this clip of Jack Black on Getting Dug with High. He didn't have the best time because he used to smoke a lot, but then he realized that it just like made him paranoid and just created more problems than it solved. So, he had basically stopped smoking, but said he'd go on the show and do it because he's a trooper.
Yeah,
right.
So it went about as well as he expected, I think.
This guy's worried. Hunt Griff on Twitter is worried that I'm going to kill you. Give him some eye contact.
All right, I gave him a lot.
Let's do. This will keep your mind engaged.
Spin me around.
Okay. This is the most fun thing to listen to. Don't fly
This is
on
a podcast.
Dude, I want to go see the Pixies tonight at the Hollywood Bowl.
Just breathe on it, actually.
Let's get magic done.
I think that was my card. Was that like, you forced me to have the nine of clubs. And then it's actual magic. There was some kind of sleight of hand that I wasn't aware of.
It's fun.
I mean,
Like a table.
it just seems like Jack Black, but
4,200 viewers right now, which people like to have.
4,200 people.
Put the thing up for merch so they can go there and get some. I don't want to talk about it right now. I don't want to get into it. How's it going, buddy?
Always a delight, Jack Black.
Always. Oh.
All right, so what is...
I gotta love when people get too stoned.
all right. There's a place called the Musicians Institute out in Hollywood, California. It's actually right near Grauman's Theater, and they have it's an institute for music. Go figure. They call it Musicians Institute, and they have guest artists come and perform. And Dave Weckl has performed there a number of times, and they've been releasing on YouTube what they're calling Throwback Thursdays, which of course is kind of a common thing. Mm-hmm. But they released one of those.
So what should I look up here?
Dave Weckl Musicians Institute, I think. It's a full concert, and I'm not.
Yeah, we're gonna do a snippet. No,
let's see. Where his hair is normal.
Where his hair is this one.
Probably. Where he's actually got a whole band, and it's not just him.
Hands together for Conquer Stretch recording artist, the Dave Weckl Band.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Hey y'all, how you doing?
Show the viewers.
What's happening? We're gonna play some music from our new record as a band. It's called Rhythm of the Soul, and basically, it's not. This isn't supposed to be a clinic or anything like that, so I ain't gonna talk any of that kind of junk. And we're just gonna play for you and let you enjoy these wonderful musicians. And we'll be around afterwards, hang out. If you want to ask us some questions and stuff, feel free, okay? But we're glad to be here, and thank you all for coming. And we're gonna rock. See you later.
That's like
sexy.
Like good.
Yeah. Yeah. Dave Weckl, everybody.
Yeah.
That's some.
I love that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I just kept
That's
playing. I'm like,
sexy. Yeah, could have just kept going. That's Ooh.
2 minutes of that. That was awesome.
That was fantastic.
Like the bass lines too, and when they got that like simplicity
Kennedy
to it, it's just like every other hit or something. It's like you kind of dig in and just like get that little bit of like. You hit like a lick, you know. You add in that little flavor on top. It just it gives me chills to hear that shit.
And if you look up Dave Weckl's music on Spotify or iTunes or something like that, he's got several albums that are technically solo albums. So the guy on keys there, Jay Oliver, worked with him to produce it and do the keyboard parts and all of that. But it was mostly about showcasing his drumming because it was his project. He was still with the Chick Corea Electric Band at the time for the first couple of albums. But then I think he says in another video, I think it was around 1994, he left the Chick Corea Electric Band. And it was around that time that he thought, well, why don't I get some musicians together and form an actual band? And then we'll produce an album and try to go on tour. And this band is the result of that
effort. Yeah. Nice.
And the three guys, him, Jay Oliver on the keys, and Tom Kennedy,
the
bassist, all grew up in St. Louis, which you were just at. You were just in St. Louis, Missouri. And they grew up together, I guess. Or they grew up in St. Louis. I think they met later on. But yeah, they're all excellent musicians. Yeah. I don't know who the guitarist or that saxophone player are.
Yeah.
Because they don't have that St. Louis connection.
Yeah.
They aren't featured in a lot of the videos, but they're both awesome. The saxophone player especially. I got to be honest, I hate the saxophone. It's rare to me that a saxophone player produces a pleasing tone out of the saxophone. It's like the only thing that makes it tolerable is that the other instruments water it down.
That's the case for like more instruments than you'd like to.
Yeah. So, but that guy, I don't know his name. Yeah, it's just
love it.
Wonderful.
Love it.
I wish more people achieved that level of proficiency at the saxophone. Then I probably wouldn't hate the instrument. It's really all the crappy saxophonists that make me hate the saxophone.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel similar. Like, there's a lot of times I've heard just a bad saxophone, but when they do it right, though, there's just nothing like it.
Nothing like
it. There's that brassy quality that they have to it, but it's also it just when you hit it right.
Most of them sound like ducks on crack.
Yeah, that's They just squeaky, squawky. It's some kind of bird.
Yeah, it's like a horse duck.
Yeah, a duck that just smoked a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah. Horse HOARSE.
Yes. Yeah, not like some crazy hybrid species.
Yeah.
Horse and duck, which I don't really want to think about either way for that one. Like,
no.
Ducks have crazy penises, and obviously a horse would just decimate a duck. No question. I killed that one guy, so.
Well, yeah, this is his fault for getting fucked by a horse.
Wait a second. Are you sure that wasn't like The Onion or something?
Yeah, no, I haven't seen the video, but there is an actual video exists of this guy that
getting fucked to death by a horse.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't happen like at that moment, but it's just he wrecked the insides, like later complications kind of. But it's still like you see what happened to cause the internal stress. It just disturbs me knowing that video exists. Let alone that it happened.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not looking for it.
No,
so. Right. It may be out there. I don't give a shit. I'm not finding it.
Right. that will certainly never be a part of one of our streams.
No.
I don't care how many of you request it.
No, it's not. No.
I don't mind it becoming a bit though.
No, yeah.
If our followers just like are routinely requesting that we.
Maybe if someone donates like $5,000 at once.
That's not nearly enough.
No, to make me watch a dude get fucked by a horse. You gotta pay big
it
bucks.
takes $5,000 for us to think about it.
Yeah.
It's a gamble, but I think it's worth it. And speaking as a potential recipient of $5,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, we could just turn it on and go in the other room. We don't actually have to watch it in that case, unless they're paying for our reactions to it.
You see, yeah.
Oh, I don't want to see that.
See, because we probably have trouble streaming the actual.
Right.
Yeah.
It probably went down something like this.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Except there wasn't another dude on the horse.
Hopefully not. That could be a kinky ass video. Literally a kinky ass video.
Oh, God.
Ayo.
More like unkinking.
Oh,
God.
Yeah, no, just straightening out the intestine. Jesus Christ.
We are live.
Yes.
At the moment.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Speaking of
I'm
which,
not sure how I feel about this moment.
depression. New moment.
Whoa,
Depression, right?
Whoa, depression? Okay.
Yeah, turning it just 180.
Yeah, what about
from
it?
horse cocks. Depression, all right?
I would be pretty depressed if I compared myself to a horse.
Oh, yeah, but that's not...
Nah. See, because, unless you're planning on, getting with horses,
right?
like, why would... Nah. You don't need that. Go ahead.
But anyway, depression. I'm
Yeah,
tying
speaking of
this in
depression.
somehow to living in the moment, all right? So I've found lately, at least, the cause of my depression has been worrying about the things that I have to do coming up. Like, oh no, I have a podcast and I need to get together some material for it. Clearly I didn't prepare that hard for this, but... So this is one of those
it's
examples.
called live in the moment for a reason.
But the worrying about the future and worrying about those obligations is what seems to be bringing on my stress and then as a result my depression. And I think if I just lived in the moment more often, I wouldn't be as stressed or depressed.
It's easier said than done, but I think you're right.
It
I
is.
think, it's one of those things you'll gradually get better at.
It is, yeah.
It's like you have to be in that very moment.
Because you got to even think, oh shit, there's that thing I need to do later. Think, what could I do now? Like, do that one or
what
two
can I do
things.
in the moment to make this happen?
And to make yourself more ready for it.
Yeah. It just comes down to you always have to, even if you look at something in the future, you have to refer to how does that affect now? If there's nothing that can be done now, then I just have to
I found
move
a trick
forward.
even if there's a little bit you can do now, but you don't necessarily want to just commit to finishing up the whole thing. It's like if you just start, just commit to not doing the entire thing. Just say, oh, well, let me just get started, get a few things in. You might end up finishing it because once you get started, you get in a roll and you're like, well, I'll just add this. Let me just do that. That's what I found. It just keeps cascading. You just keep pushing it. Just start because you don't want to.
Just start that moment.
There's always a time you're not going to want to do something.
Into that moment, you're good.
Because the honeymoon period just doesn't last for anything ever. I mean, it's just you got to suck it up and just do it if it's important to you. So.
Yeah, and it helps to break it down.
Yeah.
That's why in the honeymoon period,
start,
break it down. It's like, okay, I just got to do this little bit now.
You can understand, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, even something as short term as a play, just going through the play, and I'm not talking about learning the play or the rehearsal periods or anything like that. I'm talking about when you're in the middle of doing the play. You can't be thinking about the next scene. You'll forget your lines. Or you won't be looking, and it'll be obvious, and you won't be in the scene, and everything.
You
will
won't
be
feel
wrong.
connected with the moment on stage, which then disconnects the audience from the moment on stage, and it just cascades.
Right, and especially in a show like mine, where there's like ridiculous changes, where it's like I have to like rehearse the sequence in my head, but when I'm out there, I can't be thinking about it.
Yeah,
I just have to
you
do
gotta
it.
let it happen.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I've given myself some cue lines, like this one part where I'm like, run, telling a guy on stage to run, but I'm the only one that actually has to run because I get off stage and run my ass to the other side of the stage to then get all of this shit like just put on me so I can make an entrance because they give the guys that wrote it gave no time for this entrance.
Naturally.
Unless they just played it, staged it differently, that could be. But
yeah, well, it's fun. Builds character running around on stages.
But that should help give you like a starting point, a place to jump from, as far as living in the moment a little more. It's like you already have that experience. So you're like, let me do that in real life.
Yeah, you just start to take what you've applied to the stage to real life. Some of it, anyway, not some of the other ridiculousness. But
yeah, it's
really
like cheating out.
Like, yeah, you don't have to. I mean, cheating out when in things like with camera and situations like this, cheating out makes sense. But in life, when you're in a conversation, you don't have to cheat out. It's like the difference between sex and porn. You don't have to keep it all towards the camera. You can just go.
You can keep natural body hair.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you don't have to be clean shaven. You don't have to have makeup everywhere. You don't have to have a needle shoved in places so that you last longer. You don't have to have any of that.
You don't need a team of people in the room to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, no. You don't need some guy standing behind a camera going, "More whipped cream."
Or Barbasol.
Or well, that's even worse.
It's weird.
It's even
it's
weird.
Totally
weird. It's weirder than I could even imagine.
It's the weirdest.
Weirdest, yes.
All right. So speaking of slurring and fucking things up, this next clip I think is just hilarious. Like it speaks for itself.
What the fuck you doing, man?
I've been treated by the owner of the store.
You said what?
I've been treated by the owner of the store.
You've been treated by the owner of the store?
Yeah, just walk on. Don't worry about it. And I know the owner, and trust me.
That's cool. He knows the owner.
If he is to come back towards you, you are to be executed. You and everybody else. Hey, just walk on.
He walking?
No,
okay.
You walking.
Me?
You.
I'll be executed?
Yeah. It's once in a lifetime. You'll never see this again. But the owner of the store.
Okay. Just drinking beers like at the store.
Bro, let me tell you something.
That's the worker like in front of him.
Beer
like, what are you doing?
Right here.
Just make
I'm the owner.
Go ask in the office before you.
Oh, you didn't hear?
Go ask.
I mean, come on, let's go, man. Let's go. Come on, man, let's go. I work here. I'm lost profession. Either you gonna go to jail or you gonna get out.
They didn't tell you.
They didn't tell you?
Let's go, man.
That's great.
Let's go, man.
They didn't tell you.
Let's go, man. Let's go, man.
There's some drunk Mexicans.
Let's go.
Can I at least finish my beer?
Oh, he's going to. Look at that. Then he's going to put it on a shelf.
No, look at the shelf with the six-pack he stole. And like already drank most of it.
Treated me one six-pack within the store. I was able to drink one beer.
Seems like he got to more than one beer.
A whole family?
Yeah.
Damn.
No, not mine.
Yours or mine?
No, not.
Okay, man. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Just you.
It's me. All right. Okay. You going the fuck out the store? Huh?
Language? Just tell him your whole family's gonna get killed if
for a six-pack of beer.
No, you fighting.
Nevertheless,
and you that low.
Nevertheless, knowing who the.
I love someone. I don't know if you see it. Let me. I love it.
You are too.
You know what?
I've been treated by the owner of the store.
You just know it. I love where is it? Didn't tell you.
The store treated me one.
Is that before this or?
It's before that. Yeah.
No, walk out with your beer.
It's like it's in here.
Didn't tell you?
Oh, it's before that. Yeah. Before that. Oh.
Let's go, man. Let's go, man.
Hey.
Let's go. No,
no
walk out with your beer.
Go ask. I
mean, come on, let's go, man. Let's go. Come on, man, let's go. I work here. I'm lost profession. Either you gonna go to jail or you gonna get out.
They didn't tell you.
Look at his
Like
face.
that's gonna work. Like, he's just so confident. Like there's no way this guy's gonna kick me out for drinking his beers. There's no way. It's like, yeah. One person, I don't know if it's still here in the comments. I don't want to just scroll through not seeing it. But it's like someone pointed out. It's like did anyone else notice that he turned off the camera to beat the guy's ass? Like, probably did. It's like, yeah, all right, okay. Let's deal with this. Let's see if I have any other clips before.
I wonder what the store does then. It's like, do they sell a 5-pack?
No, they probably just have to give that to
yeah.
the staff or something.
No,
It's
this is
like,
bullshit.
that's one
They're
off
just
the
doing
shelf.
it, yeah.
That's one out of inventory.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody
Starts
drops
the game,
a bottle
yeah.
of wine in the
there's,
aisle.
but there's still 5 good bottles in there.
Yeah, you give it to the staff.
Yeah,
you put it in the break
give it to the
room,
staff, yeah. Let some
Or maybe
staffers
maybe
take
if
it
they like drop one and break it, they'll just fill it in.
Maybe.
Yeah, so. They didn't tell you?
Look at it. He was just like sitting there. Then they didn't tell you.
I love that he's just
That's what you're expecting him to say.
Yeah. Which in his head, it's probably in Spanish, but he's just like, man, this guy's not buying it.
Yeah. maybe if I act more confident, maybe that'll help.
Yeah, like,
that guy was not having it.
No, that loss prevention officer was no. It's just you get the fuck out the store.
No disrespect to loss prevention personnel, but I don't think they're called officers.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
well, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, maybe some technical thing like you're not supposed to call yourself.
Well, it's just
that,
just because officer is a thing.
I love my voice cracks and you make sure yours doesn't.
Yeah.
You're like, let me make sure.
Yeah, I gotta make sure.
I don't sound like an
manly.
idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, God forbid you mistake me for him, which would be easy to do because all three of us have basically the same voice.
And then I'm just an
with
idiot.
Slightly
So
different
that's
nasal
just, you don't want that. So.
No. I don't want to be associated with that level of intelligence.
Yeah,
Couldn't even figure out how to get the podcast running up.
It took a minute. Did
you do this?
Do you guys want to hear about some more news? Do you guys have anything else you want to?
I mean, I've run through all my good news on everything.
So, I got at least one more.
I could talk for like another 8 hours about Dave Weckl and drums, but I don't think you want that.
No.
I don't think you want that. I don't think you want that. I don't think you want that.
No.
I mean, if you want that, let me know. We could set that up later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, private live stream.
Yeah. So we'll talk.
I did have
Canned soda.
a couple more. I don't want to just rattle off everything. Maybe save a few things for next podcast, and we'll bring more. But I have one more thing I want to add. Okay, well I'm gonna add one more thing in this moment.
Awkward moment. Live in the awkward.
What are you
moment.
doing, man?
I'm messing up. You got me all flustered. All right.
That's all it
So
takes.
I got a clip associated with this. Nothing too brutal. In South Africa, I don't know if you've heard.
I know of South Africa, yes.
Yeah, I know exactly what South Africa is.
Okay. Well, there's the farmers, particularly white farmers, are being targeted because one faction of the government wants to, and actually it seems like it's a consensus that they're going to just take the land for no compensation, just give it back to their people or something to that effect.
Right.
And what's happened is because of some of the kind of support that these leaders have given, there's been like rapes and killings and all kinds of horrible things happening to these people, these white farmers. And because of all this that's been going on, Australia has been giving visas to the people, like come over here, like that's
right.
Yeah.
that's messed up.
Hey, we speak English.
And the South African government responded by saying, how dare you insult us by taking the whites out of here that we're persecuting? Like it's completely within our right to do that. How dare you? That was their response. They're like, you owe us an apology for taking out people that are being persecuted in our country. To which Australia said, fuck that, we're fast-tracking the visas.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, you look at them and it's like,
yeah.
So the lesson you guys learned from apartheid is do it first?
That's not a good lesson.
There's some interesting groups and stuff going on, like different back and forth. And this one guy here that I'm about to show, he's like, yeah, of course we should be taking the land and everything. It's like that's just so accepted. The killings and that kind of stuff isn't. They kind of distance themselves a little more. But this guy was talking about there was some doctor that had made like an appearance, and I'm sure it was some politically motivated this or that. I don't know the full context. But this guy had a comment about doctors that I thought was hysterical. So let's watch this guy, South African, so he has a fun accent.
Can the audience see this?
Oh. Good catch, bro. Let's make sure the audience can see this guy.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we can see this guy.
Now that this is a crisis, he cries. Since when do doctors cry?
Since when do doctors cry?
What?
Now that this is a crisis, he cries. Since when do doctors cry?
Okay. It almost sounded like a non sequitur because his accent.
No,
Now
he's
that
making points.
this is a crisis, he cries.
And there's a full context that makes,
cry.
but it's just such a funny.
That's great. When do doctors
Since
cry?
when do doctors cry?
Yes, those heartless bastards. Cutting on cadavers in school and shit.
And there's another one. It's like
saving lives and shit, assholes.
He also had, I don't remember exactly what the quote is here, but he references people crying.
He go there in a choreographed manner. Paragraph 6, we're going to cry, and then he cries, and then he wants us to buy into that. We do not buy into that.
Like, I think it's a good soundbite for a lot of politicians that might be, putting on the crocodile tears, and you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah,
like,
we do not buy into
that. No.
We do not buy into
that. So sorry about that. I love that line, though. It's like paragraph 6, it says cry, and he cry. He says it.
He go there in a choreographed manner. Paragraph 6, we're going to cry, and then he cries, and then he wants us to buy into that. We do not buy into that.
That guy's fun. I don't know if I don't know. I don't know nearly enough about any of the conflicts and stuff, so I don't think I'm gonna sit here and give names and stuff. We are barely observing.
Yeah. We are neither giving support nor are we saying anything against any particular person in regards to this because we know so little about it. We would probably be wrong.
Yeah. I disagree with taking land.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I disagree with that
killing
too.
people
and
doing bad.
And rape in general is not a good thing either.
Right.
Yeah, especially to death.
And certainly two wrongs don't make a right.
No.
So we're not saying that the victims are totally innocent, but their wrongs should not bring this sort of thing on them.
Yeah, and good for Australia.
Especially with that fuck you and the whole, expediting fast tracking the visas. That's good for them. Good for them.
All right, so we've been living in the moment here for good hour 20.
Yeah.
How you guys feeling?
That long?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I felt like it was a good. I felt like we really lived in the moment.
I enjoyed these moments together live.
It was good. Yeah, living. And we hope you enjoyed these moments, living with us live in the moment.
Yes, or pre-recorded if you're watching us later.
If you're watching the rerun,
and for those of us,
if you're just catching us, check out the rerun. You're gonna get to see it again. We're gonna have new episodes every week.
And for those of you who didn't watch us, fuck you.
You're missing out. Don't. Well, maybe that's a good point because anyone watching this is immediately disqualified from that.
Yeah, anybody
who watches this. So the second you see this, you can't be insulted because he's not referring to you.
Yeah.
But
there it is.
People don't necessarily think that way, and someone might watch it and go, I didn't know it existed. That's such a mean thing to say. Just because I didn't know that you guys had this wonderful podcast, I learned so much.
If you're
now I'm less sympathetic.
If you're so thin-skinned that you were upset by that comment, fuck you.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I think we're all in consensus on that one. Yeah, we all stand behind that. Fuck you. We do. Okay.
So this was Live in the Moment Live. I've been Alex Giuliano.
I've been Michael Giuliano.
I'm Steven.
Are you?
Just Steven.
You?
Yeah.
How are you? Okay.
I am, and going forward, I will still be Steven because I'm living in the moment.
He was, is, and is to be Steven.
Thank you all for joining us for Live in the Moment Live. We appreciate any views we got. We're coming at you next week. Have a great one.
We're going to look at this chessboard while we exit out.
Yes.
Man, the detail on this.
I think this was made at the Vatican, and he disgraced it by fucking one of the guys at the horse.
You did.